Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Ghost FM USA. Before we start, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with where you're from and what time you're watching. And I'm an AI narrator, so if I mispronounce anything, please forgive me. Now, let's begin. I heard this story from my granddad. He's a software engineer now. But back when he was 19, he lived in this place that wasn't exactly a small town, but wasn't a city either. For personal reasons, I'm not going to name the spot. This story happened to my granddad's best friend, Blake. Blake's life was a total mess. His dad was basically rotting away in bed, and his mom's health was heading south fast. At that point, staying in college was a pipe dream for him. He dropped out and started working at a local pharmacy. Since he was a sharp kid and a physics major, the pharmacy felt like a decent fit. But while he was working there, his mom got even sicker. He had to miss work for a few days to take care of her. After a mountain of tests, the doctors dropped the bomb. Cancer. It absolutely wrecked him. In the middle of all that chaos, his dad finally kicked the bucket. Now, Blake had nobody left but his mom, and she was fighting for her life. He got her admitted to the hospital and went into beast mode with work. He finished up his dad's funeral rites and quickly realized that slinging meds at a pharmacy wasn't going to pay for his mom's chemo and hospital bills. It just wasn't enough cash. The pharmacy owner was a real solid guy, a total bro, and he told Blake, "Look, the hospital where your mom is staying needs a hearse driver to haul bodies. You can do that, and the pay is actually decent." Blake didn't think twice. He signed up for the gig immediately on his very first day. First thing in the morning, he had to pick up a body. It was a burn victim, someone who'd been set on fire. It wasn't too far away, so he grabbed the body and brought it back quick. As time went on, the workload piled up, but he was actually okay with it because he was stacking more paper. It meant he could at least afford his mom's checkups. He worked his tail off all day trying to cover the meds. Whenever he could, he'd go see her and bring some fruit. Then one night, around midnight, he gets a call. He's told he needs to pick up a body from the next town over. They gave him the address and told him it was a woman who died of cancer. Poor lady. She'd been sick but never got checked out, and her family had no clue she was terminal until it was too late. So, Blake heads out to the next town to snag the corpse. By the time he gets there, it's 1:15 a.m. He loads the body and starts heading out of the area. He's been driving for a hot minute. It's a ghost road, totally deserted with thick woods on both sides. While driving, Blake suddenly feels something twitching in the back. It felt like someone was literally pacing around in the back of the van where the body was laid out. He slams on the brakes and opens the back door, but the body was right where it was supposed to be. He figured he was just tripping and started driving again. But a few minutes later, there was again that same sound. He tried to ignore it and kept moving. That's when he heard it, a voice literally whispering right in his ear, "Stop the car." He didn't stop. Sweat was pouring down his face. Then he sees a woman standing in the middle of the road ahead, gesturing for him to stop. He still didn't stop. That might have been his biggest mistake. Suddenly, something started banging on the roof of the van, like someone was jumping up and down on top of it. And that voice kept ringing in his ears. "Stop the car! Stop the car!" Right then, he sees his own mother, standing in the middle of the road. He slams the brakes hard. The impact sent him flying to the windshield, and he ended up in a massive wreck. When he finally woke up in the hospital, he was in critical condition. He managed to tell the doctor every single thing that happened. After hearing the story, the doctor just went silent. When Blake asked about his mom, the doctor still wouldn't say a word. Later, he found out that his mother had died. She passed away the night before. Hearing that broke him completely. He barely made it through the day, and the next morning, Blake suffered a massive stroke and died. Why was the doctor silent? To answer your question, the doctor was likely silent because he knew something Blake didn't yet. Blake's mom had died the previous night. The same night he was out driving that hearse. The woman he saw on the road, the cancer victim he was supposed to pick up, and the vision of his mother were all twisted together. The doctor was probably shell-shocked because Blake's description of the ghost or the woman in the road likely matched the mother who had just passed away in that very hospital. He was silent because he realized Blake had been haunted by the spirit of his own mother in her final moments. What do you guys think? Was it his mom trying to warn him, or was the body in the back taken with her? Amit was just a regular guy, born into a family that was dirt poor. It was just him, his mom, and his paralyzed dad, who probably didn't have much time left in this world. They were scraping by on his dad's meager pension after he retired. That was their life. But as the bills started piling up, Amit had to drop out of high school after 10th grade. He ended up scoring a gig at a bakery, making biscuits. The pay was decent enough, and he stuck it out for 2 or 3 years before he realized he couldn't do that soul-crushing work anymore. Eventually, while hunting for a new hustle, he spotted an opening for a hearse driver at a hospital. The pay was actually pretty fire compared to his old job, so he applied and bagged a position within a few months. On his first day at the hospital, he had to go pick up a body near the city. It was a dark case. Some guy had hung himself because his wife was cheating on him. Amit handled it like a pro, loaded the body, and brought it back to the morgue. After that, he hauled plenty of bodies, but it never really got to him. Since he was a new guy, he was mostly stuck on the day's shift, so everything felt normal. But time kept ticking, and eventually his luck ran out. He got slapped with the night shift. He got a call to pick up a body. This one was brutal. A woman whose husband had set her on fire, jacked all her jewelry, and bailed. It was 12:15 a.m. The crime scene was way out in the sticks, at least a 2-hour drive. Amit hauled us out of the hospital at 12:20 a.m., and since the roads were dead, he made it there in about an hour and 30 minutes. He secured the body in the back and started the trek back. Now, he couldn't just floor it with a corpse in the back. He had to play it cool and drive steady. The roads were pitch black and deserted. It was just Amit and the body. Suddenly, he felt like something was moving in the back. A weird clack-clack sound. Amit figured the van was just acting up and told himself he'd check it later. But as he kept driving, he started getting drowsy. His eyes flickered shut for a second, and when they snapped open, he saw a woman standing right in the middle of the road. Panic surged. Amit jerked the wheel to miss her, but he heard a thud and felt the tires go over something. He slammed on the brakes. Sweat was pouring down his face. Holy shit, what did I just do? He jumped out of the van and checked everywhere. But here's the kicker. There was no body. Nothing. Amit stood there shaking. wondering if he was just hallucinating from the lack of sleep. He tried to shake it off, chalking it up to a tired brain. He gulped some water, wiped the sweat, and got back behind the wheel. But a little further down the road, there she was again, a woman in white standing right in his path. This time, he was wide awake. He stopped the van and stared. Amit's heart dropped into his stomach. The woman's legs were completely charred, burnt to a crisp. He knew right then that this wasn't some normal breakdown. As he tried to slowly creep the van past her, the woman suddenly spoke. "Let me out, or there's nothing but hell waiting for you up ahead." Amit ignored her and stepped on the gas. That's when he heard a voice from the back of the van hiss, "You didn't stop? It's over for you. You still have time. Stop the car." Amit was terrified, but he kept his foot down. Suddenly, a massive bang hit the roof. It sounded like someone was straight up jumping on top of the van. His throat went bone dry. He didn't stop, didn't look back. He just stared at the road and kept driving. Eventually, the banging stopped, and Amit thought he might have made it out of the woods. He focused on the road, trying to keep it together. Then a foul, rotting stench filled the cabin. Right at that moment, a voice from his left whispered, "Hey, didn't I tell you to stop?" Amit looked to his left, and there it was, the burnt corpse sitting right in the passenger seat. The thing had no eyes. Its face was a melted mess of charred flesh, and some kind of thick, sticky ooze was dripping from its mouth. Amit lost it. He took his eyes off the road for 1 second too long. The van swerved, slammed into a tree, and he blacked out. When Amit finally came to, he was in a hospital bed. As soon as he could sit up, the doctor started grilling him about the crash. Amit told them everything: the woman, the voice, the body in the passenger seat. But the doctors weren't buying it. They figured he was high or drunk behind the wheel. They told him the cops had pulled him out of the wreck. Amit kept insisting it was all real. So finally, the doctors took him down the morgue to show him the body he was transporting. When they pulled back the sheet, Amit saw the corpse was exactly where it was supposed to be, but when he looked at the face, a cold shiver ran down his spine. The hospital fired him on the spot, and honestly, Amit didn't want that job anymore anyway. This story goes back a lot of years. Rachel used to be a local business owner. She ran a shop that originally belonged to her dad. After he suddenly passed away, she took over the family business. At first, sales were booming because there wasn't any real competition around. Rachel's shop was a go-to spot, and it stayed packed. But as time went on, new spots started popping up all around her, and her sales started tanking. The neighboring shops were stocking better products than her, and sometimes customers would get pissed off because they buy something from Rachel only to find out it was total junk. Eventually, her sales hit rock bottom, and she was forced to rent the shop out to someone else. Now, Rachel was broke and unemployed, just out here hustling for any kind of work. For context, her home was in Itchapur. At that moment, she was jobless, had zero prospects, and nothing to her name except a little bit of rent money coming in. Clueless about what to do next, she hit up a friend of hers. This friend lived over in Murshidabad and was a doctor. After talking to him, Rachel scored a lead on a job. The gig? Hauling bodies to the hospital. We're talking all kinds of cases, suicide, homicides, or just people passing away from natural causes. Rachel's job was to transport the bodies to the hospital morgue. She saw that the pay was actually pretty solid, at least enough to keep her head above water. Without a second thought, she took her friend's advice, signed up for the job, and moved to Murshidabad. She crashed at her friend's quarters and started her new life as a hearse driver. She worked there for years, and for a long time, nothing weird ever happened. She hauled all sorts of bodies, drowning victims, poisonings, you name it. Doing this job day in and day out actually made her pretty fearless. Then came one particular night around 9 p.m. Rachel had to head out to Sonadanga to pick up a body. A little girl's body had been found in a forest out there. According to the locals, the kid had been gang raped and then murdered. She couldn't have been more than 14 years old. Rachel went out there in the dark to collect the body. As she was loading the remains into the van, she felt this weird vibe. She caught a glimpse of the girl and just felt this sudden wave of pity. She actually started tearing up. The girl was so beautiful, and such a horrific thing had happened to her. Rachel couldn't wrap her head around it. Her chest felt heavy with grief, even though she didn't even know this kid. Anyway, Rachel tried to shake it off and started driving the body back. But as she drove, she couldn't stop thinking about her. The girl had such a haunting, angelic face. Even though she was dead, her eyes were wide open, staring with such a heartbreaking look. Rachel kept driving, lost in thought. It was a pitch-black road, nothing but empty fields on both sides, with only her headlights cutting through the dark. Suddenly, a cow stepped right out into the middle of the road. Rachel realized it too late. She slammed on the brakes, but she felt the impact as the cow went right under the wheels. The van finally screeched to a halt a bit further down. Rachel bolted out of the door to check, but here's the crazy part. There was no cow. Nothing. Had she just imagined the whole thing? No way. There was a loud-ass bang. She felt the hit, and she saw the cow go under the van with her own eyes. So where the hell did it go? Rachel started getting seriously creeped out. She didn't stick around to ask questions. She jumped back in and hauled ass toward the hospital. When she got there and went to unload the body from the back, she noticed a massive amount of blood pooled on the floor of the van. It totally threw her off. Where did all this blood come from? Without overthinking it, she dropped the body off and headed back to her quarters. She didn't sleep a wink that night. That's when the real nightmare started. After seeing that girl's face, for some reason, Rachel couldn't get a decent night's sleep. Every time she'd get drowsy and try to crash, she'd start thinking about that girl, and her sleep would just vanish. The sleep deprivation started taking a toll on her appearance and her health. She felt like crap half the time. Then, one night, something happened that Rachel never saw coming. It was about 10:30 p.m. Rachel had just finished dinner and was about to hit the sack when she heard the sound of a girl crying outside her quarters. She opened the door to investigate, but saw nobody. It was just thick fog outside. She shut the door, turned around toward her bed, and her heart nearly stopped. The dead girl was lying right there on her bed. Blood was gushing out from between her legs. She was staring at Rachel with those same haunting eyes and whispered, "Why did they kill me?" Annie Rachel, terrified, Rachel scrambled to the door, flung it open, and sprinted out. Since the stairwell was pitch black, she tripped, took a nasty fall face first, hit her head, and blacked out right there. When she finally came to, she found herself with a bandaged head. Back in her own room, a woman from a neighboring room was sitting by her side. Rachel spilled the whole story to her, and soon everyone in the quarters heard about it. Some people thought she was tripping. Others believed her. But some of the neighbors admitted they had also heard a girl crying in the middle of the night. After that, a lot of people moved out of those quarters, and Rachel quit the job for good. She moved back home and restarted her old shop. Rachel is an old lady now, about 75 years old. She's doing fine and living a healthy life today.